Hello and welcome to Moving Iron Podcast After the Bell with Chip Nellinger. Today's Friday, so we're going to jump back in and take a look at some of the market action over the week and what next week might start out to look like. So, Chip, welcome to the last day of the week here.
Well, it is Friday. We had kind of a down week in the grains. Not a lot of fresh news. So, in order to keep markets moving higher, you've got to feed the bull friendly news every day. We just didn't have any of that this week. So pretty well down across the board. Corn closing down about 9.5, 10 cents across the board for the week. Wheat about 12 cents lower roughly in Kansas City and Chicago. The bean market kind of leading it, down about 23, 24 cents in the beans. And no real single news thing pops out. Obviously, Oklahoma, Kansas going to get some rain here this weekend, so that's weighing on wheat. The weather forecast, particularly for the eastern corn belt over our way, is slowly starting to warm up. There's going to be guys that are going to put some corn in the ground next week. And we're not overly warm yet. We're still in the low 60s, but at least the rain and snow stopped, and there's going to be some planting activity here early next week, probably some sporadic planting activity even over the weekend here in the eastern corn belt. So that weighed on corn. No real big news in beans to push us lower. We do have just still kind of underlying anxiety about some further China trade issues, and so that's kind of weighing on beans. And we just kind of overall had kind of a negative week here. Little bit brighter spot on the cattle side. We had a big wide range. We almost a $5 range, low to high, in live cattle. We closed about right in the middle of the range. There's a cattle on feed this afternoon here in about half hour, 20 minutes. The market is expecting some bearish numbers there. We've had about 7 or 8 bearish cattle on feed reports in a row, but yet cash trade is better than expected the last couple of weeks. So, I think as long as there's not something wildly bearish on this cattle on feed report, that the market will kind of bounce back and probably kick the week off next week on a higher note. But, the caveat being we do have a cattle on feed here in, 20 minutes, and that could change the equation there. Hogs put a new multi-week high in, but then kind of tailed off at the end of the week and actually closed the week a little bit lower, but probably of any of our ag markets, probably the hog market looks the strongest, and technically and fundamentally probably has the best reason to rally. So we'll see. The grain markets might be a little bit negative here, especially if the weather starts cooperating, particularly in the western corn belt out where you're at, Casey. You mentioned it's still kind of sleeting and rain showers. And so we need to get some warmer weather out your way and north, in the northern plains, northern corn belt.
Yeah, any time that you want to send some warm weather our way, that'd be great. Definitely appreciate that.
I wouldn't say we're just baking in the heat here. We're still barely, we're not even supposed to be north of 60 until like tomorrow, and then it's slowly warming up into the low to mid 60s next week. So we're far from warm.
Yeah.
Still getting down in the upper 30s, low 40s at night. So it's a real slow, gradual warm-up period here. But it's based on the calendar. Guys are looking at it and saying, "I don't care. We'll wait for the. We'll put corn in the ground, and likely the temperatures are gonna, warm up here eventually, sometime in the next 2 weeks to kind of get some better conditions."
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's we're supposed to have this kind of snowy, rainy mix thing through today and tomorrow, and then I believe through Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, it's supposed to warm back up pretty nice. So we'll just wait for the next weekend to get some more rain and snow. So
yeah.
So I've been talking to a few guys down in Texas, Oklahoma area, talking about cattle and stuff, and they're talking about guys that are kind of hitting the point now because of the drought situation the way it is, that they're starting to sell off some of their herd so they can maintain with water and the other stuff that they're trying to ration out. Is that playing effect into the marketplace, and then the customers that you deal with, are they having similar conversations with you about that?
Yeah, Oklahoma especially probably is facing that. There's probably more cow-calf there that, rely on grass and pasture. bad deal, and they're going to get a little bit of rain, but that doesn't just save you or change it and give you grass overnight. So yeah, it's an issue out there. Obviously, a bad situation. They had fires and ongoing drought for several months now, and so it is a bad deal. The issue with that, though, is it doesn't immediately affect the cattle market. It does in that area, obviously,
right. But
in the big picture, usually what happens is it's just a logistic. You liquidate cows and calves from one area. Mm-hmm. You're likely not going to slaughter those cows. They're going to be moved to a different area. So, unfortunately, in that local area, it's not a good situation at all. But it probably doesn't have a major influence on prices overall. Yeah. From the cow-calf perspective. So.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, any kind of depending on what you see in this cattle on feed report. Starting next week, do you see any big swings in the market coming at us, or is it just going to be kind of a wait and see, kind of with the moisture and stuff that we got?
Yeah, I wouldn't anticipate any big swings. I think in the grains, seasonally, when it's warm and planters are rolling, it's hard for corn or beans to rally. So it wouldn't surprise me if you don't see another 2-3 weeks of some light pressure in the market. I don't think the bottom's going to fall out. Mm-hmm. And then, though, we still have the growing season to get through. We've got a lot of corn and beans to plant. So, seasonally this time of year, the next few weeks, typically into mid-May, third week in May, the market kind of sets back in the corn and bean market, and then kind of gets some weather premium, risk premium added back into the market for pollination and summer weather. So probably looking for a quiet week here, the next 2-3 weeks. Cattle, that's a volatile market, so we got to see what this cattle on feed says, and obviously what cash trade's going to do. Be nice to see a further bounce, but there's a lot of numbers out there in cattle. We know that's not something that's going to surprise anyone, and that's something we're going to have to deal with for a while in the cattle market.
Okay. All right. Well, good deal, Chip. Well, if guys want to get a hold of you, continue this conversation, how would they do that?
Yeah, best way is just call our office, 309-550-7213. We'd be happy to chat with you about your risk management needs.
Okay. All right, and you can find Moving Iron Podcast at iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn Radio, and SoundCloud, and also at movingironllc.com. So, Chip, we'll catch up with you next week.
All right, have a great weekend.
All right, you too. Thanks.